People today are demanding new skills of their policemen, and we as a force have to learn them. We need to know more about people and their attitudes. We have to understand the pressures of modern day living and how it affects people.
You were saying there?
Well, what I was taught is a policeman says, I'd like to ask you some questions. And you say, look, I don't want to answer those questions. Like, if you were walking on the street and somebody's just done something, well, they're asking you, did you see it? Well, you might say, oh, look, I saw a red car. You got to be sensible. You can't be stupid. So, if in certain circumstances, it's very good to help the police, provided you're not involved in any way, you're not nothing that can get onto you. But if you saw something or saw, and then you'll be careful too, because you'll be a witness and you got to start statements and stuff, and but so you can help them. But if they looking at you, you say, no, I don't want to answer those questions, and they say, well, we'd like you to answer. You come to the station, all right? Well, once they right, they can do a lot of things to you, but once they arrest you, you've got the right to remain silent. If they don't arrest you, well, you declined. You don't have to answer anything almost.
No.
In fact, the law sort of said, and because my knowledge is rusty. If you're walking along the street and there's somebody being bashed, you don't have to help. I was doing that all along.
So the question is, if you're interviewed by the police, what should you say or do? Have you been in trouble with the police?
Fortunately not.
Fortunately not. So what should you do if the police want to interview you?
Very simple. Keep your mouth shut.
Keep your mouth shut.
Don't say anything.
Don't say anything. You got the right to silence.
You got the right to silence. Now, you were mentioning there's certain instances where you have to say things, royal commissions and stuff, and maybe you get indemnities there or something. But basically, well, you get legal advice first to make sure that's the position. But if
would you trust what the police said to you if they said this is the law? This is it?
I'd like to say yes, but the answer is no. The police, unfortunately, they've got a job to do and they need to get statistics and whatever. They don't do it with honesty. I know that some police officers might do it honestly, but a lot of them, they get hardened by these criminals. The criminals, they catch bad guys, and then they catch bad guys, and what happens? The judge lets them out. The courts let them out.
Sure.
So in the end, like one of my friends, he's died now. He'd say he testified in an African country because he got seconded from Scotland in England to this African country.
He was a great guy. I loved him.
He was the commissioner of police, but he was the guy that coached the commissioner of police.
Yes.
See?
He went to Papua New Guinea as well.
Yeah. Anyway, he was in this African country, and he was at the trial, and the judge commended him on his excellent police work and how he'd seen this guy burn a house down.
Sure.
And something like that. And anyway, he said to me, it's funny, because I got a commendation for excellent police work, and when I saw him do that, I wasn't even in the country. He said, but he might have done that, but he did something else, so he needs to go to jail. And that was their attitude in the old days, the police force. They thought you were right. To stitch you up, they would falsify the evidence, and you go to jail because they thought you were wrong. But in actual fact, some 1 in 100, 1 in 1,000, you didn't do it. And there's a lot of cases that that's happened. So police, I think. Basically, we were taught when to school. First of all,
this is law school.
Not
primary school.
No, law school. Yeah,
law school.
At university. First of all, it's not very good if you're ethnic and can't speak any English. Not very good. You've got to be able to. They get all sorts of things happen to them, and if you're uneducated, poor, you got a problem. Yes. But basically, when police arrest you, you stay silent. You do not, and then I suppose if you're guilty, I suppose the answer is keep your mouth shut. Let them prove it.
Mm-hmm. And if you're innocent, keep your mouth shut
If you're innocent, well, keep your mouth shut. Otherwise, they'll make you guilty. And there's a whole, the police have got a very difficult job. I don't blame the police force in a sense. In the sense, they got a very difficult job. And if you didn't have police, it'd be shocking. If you didn't have police officers, and you didn't have those cunning police officers that catch anybody, we'd have a problem, wouldn't we? Because so people are scared of the police, so therefore they try to do the right thing. But at the same time, if it's you're the one that's being picked on, and you're just law-abiding citizen or an average person, well, you don't want to. You got to protect yourself, and you got to protect yourself by keeping your mouth shut, and don't say anything, and then, if appropriate, seek legal advice when needed. But you don't talk to the police. They'll use it against you. They'll say, "Oh, we'll just off the record," and then they'll say, "Here's the tape." This sort of stuff, and it's a bit more honest now. In the old days, what used to happen, this is what they taught you at university, they would get you in a cell and say, what, did you steal petrol from the next neighbour's car? You'd say no. And they ask you a few times, no. Then they'll have a statement, right here, sign this. And the statement says, I stole petrol. And you say, I didn't say that. And the sergeant would say, hey, constable, you heard him say he stole petrol, didn't you? Yeah. So they'd sign a statement saying that you agree, you confessed, and now you're saying not. And then they'd say, listen, sign it. You say no. They say, listen, into the cell with a rubber hose. They'd beat you up.
Yeah, they taught you this in law school?
Yeah.
You're joking?
I couldn't believe it.
This is Queensland University?
Queensland University. When I was 1970... when I finished 74, 75, I did criminal law.
You said 75 to 76.
Yeah.
Then,
yeah.
Are you serious? They told you that?
That's right. And I thought, it can't be like that. The verbaling, taught you verbaling, how that's called verbaling. Sure. They taught you how they plant evidence and stitch you up and all that. And then I've talked to police officers since, and an inspector of police, and he puts all his assets in his wife's name. And I said, why did you do that? He said, well, because his friend, who was a inspector or something, got stitched up. He was very honest. So he's driving home, they stop him, search his car, find drugs in his car, which they planted, and that's the end of his super and everything.
I see.
See, that's what they can do to you. You just don't know.
At that high level?
At that high level.
Shit. And
now, if he's afraid, I talk to people like that, and you think, wow, he's scared and he's an inspector. And
are you serious?
Yeah, no, I'm serious, yeah.
He's an inspector.
He's retired now. Yeah.
And he's worried about that.
Yeah. And so the police, there must have been a fair number of bad police. And there were, in Queensland particularly. There were a lot of bad police. And
to the outside world, Terry Lewis is a suburban pensioner, but his controversial past haunts him. After a quarter of a century of silence, for the first time he's willing to discuss the cloud of corruption that engulfed Queensland in the 1980s under his leadership. Any remorse?
No, I don't have any remorse other than the effect it's had on so many, adverse effect it's had on me, my family and some other people and our police force for a while.
Do you owe the people of Queensland an apology?
I don't believe I do, no. I did everything that I thought was possible. If I knew that was going on, I would have done something. So how do I apologise for something that I didn't?
In 1976, the inspector from Charleville was handpicked and leapfrogged more senior officers into the top job, in a climate where corruption was firmly entrenched. I find it difficult to believe that you did not know about what was going on and may have been part of it.
Well, if I had known that it was going on, I would have certainly ensured that something was done about it, and if I was part of it, surely to goodness I would show some of the benefits of it.
In 1991, a jury found him guilty of receiving corrupt payments to turn a blind eye to brothels, illegal casinos and SP bookies. Where did the $700,000 go?
If I had $600,000 or any other appreciable amount, I could have immediately gone somewhere where there was no extradition policy with Australia and just stayed there till the inquiry was finished. That could have been. I didn't, obviously. I now live in a unit at Kapira, little unit at Kapira, which is rented. The rent is paid by my eldest daughter and Centrelink. I have no other assets. I have no life insurance policies. I have nothing other than a small account with the police credit union. So if I got all that money, I certainly haven't put it to any good use.
Lewis was the highest profile scalp claimed by Commissioner Tony Fitzgerald. His inquiry was credited with reforming the state.
What do you think of the job that he did?
Well, he did a job on me, if you like.
And in New South Wales, I believe, they had a lot of bad police, and when they caught a few at the top, and then they started committing suicide, these police, because you lose your super. Right. So yes. Then the government said, I believe, that, look, if you're a bad policeman, corrupt, resign, we'll leave you alone.
We'll leave you alone.
But if you stay and you're a crook, it's still half the police force left, or quarter of the police force left. And then it became a bit more on it.
Chook Fowler, remember that Chook Fowler?
Yeah.
You remember that or not?
No, I don't.
Chook was the one who was caught on
taking
the bribe.
Yeah. And he said he wasn't. Yeah. And then they showed him, and he said, "Oh, yeah."
Chook Fowler.
Trevor was the man who collected the money. I think he called it the laugh. He was the man who collected the money and who distributed it. He was the man who was the bookkeeper, in a sense, of the corrupt group which he represented at King's Cross.
2 or 3 o'clock. Let's concentrate at the moment on this fucking Parramatta business, because I want to find why Reed's pushing it. Do you want to wait here? Can you wait here? I'll walk down and come back here. Can you wait here 10 minutes? Yeah. Can you wait here? Okay. Sure. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So, but police, the belief that the worst police force in Australia now is Western Australia.
Is that right?
But I don't know if that's a few years ago now. I heard that New South Wales got straightened up a little bit. Queensland got the Fitzgerald inquiry really cleaned them out. Well, they even brought Mr. Whittrod as Commissioner for Police here, and they stitched him up. He was a commissioner. Whitlock, he came from South Australia, and they planted drugs on him or something. Or
when was this?
Oh, many years ago.
Oh, this is pre when he. Yeah,
okay. After Fitzgerald.
Oh, after Fitzgerald. He got stitched up, you think?
Yeah. You did. Well, I don't know if you got. Well, anyway, he was. So the police. The police have always been bad in a sense, but it's a difficult job, and they're so frustrated by. So the answer is that if you're questioned by police, you got to be careful. One lady who's a client of mine, she's in police, and she said she's in missing persons, and that's where they like the police, because when you say somebody's missing, the police are helping you. Yes. They're not trying to catch you. So, you got a daughter that's missing, or a wife, or somebody's gone missing, unless you've killed them, you're not helping them. But they actually then try and find them, and the police are helping you. And she reckons that's very satisfying, because you do all these checks, you go through, all the checks, they go through credit cards, they go through electronic stuff, emails and I think, and they try and track down people. And people are very... you're on the same side as the person. But normally, police have got a bad image. They catch you for speeding. That shouldn't be done by police. That should be done by some civilian people, because the police are supposed to gain the confidence of people. Because if something goes wrong and you get a policeman being attacked by people, the people are supposed to help the policeman.
Yes.
not sort of turn the other way and walk away.
Sure.
You know,
Sure.
and because it's very important to have police, and I believe a lot of them are really. There must be most of them are hopefully. You know, it's like Catholic priests. Yeah, hopefully most of them are good. Most police are good. I hope. You know,
Sure.
and like I hope most Catholic priests are good. But unfortunately, there's a big whack of not good priests or whatever, and so you got to be very. You got to protect your backside. You know, like trust nobody really. Trust yourself and learn as much as you can about the law and whatever, and know that you've got the right to remain silent and get some advice after that. So I want to get legal advice, and then the solicitor will tell you precisely what the position is. Yes, you can do it. What you have to do, and what you don't have to do.
Yeah.
And then you know.
Well, that's the whole thing. I mean, there's nothing to be gained by going to an interview, and you don't want to engage with them whatsoever.
No.
At least if you're charged, you get to see what they've got against you, what evidence they've got against you.
Well, they just say,
and then you can develop your defence. But if you go in willy-nilly to an interview, they don't have to tell you the truth. They can bluff you. They can have a gut feel, and it could be as simple as that.
Well, when I went to uni, they used to. I don't know if it's probably changed a little bit now.
I'll just cut that for 1 minute.